Hello, nieces and nieces. How are you today? Welcome back to the channel. I want to thank you guys for coming back to the channel. I'm SavingsFashionista, and over here we do mainly things fragrance, whether it's body or home. And today we are here to talk fragrances, you guys. So I want to share my thoughts about this fragrance house. I think they're relatively new. And I have a discovery set, and we're going to just talk about I think it's like 8 fragrances that are in the set. So if you're interested, please stay tuned. So the fragrance house that we will be discussing today is New Notes. New Notes is a fragrance house that's based out of Italy. And I think it's relatively new. Well, it's new to me. And they have a nice collection or array of fragrances. 8 fragrances came inside of this discovery set, and they are all extrait de parfum. And the discovery set looks like this. And it has the 8 fragrances that are inside of here. And these are like 2 ml, I want to say, little bottles. They look like this, and they do have the sprayer. So I really enjoy fragrances that have the sprayers on them because you can really miss the fragrances. But a little bit about the company. This is read directly from their site. It says the scent of now extrait de parfum. New Notes is a new generation of extrait de parfum that transcends the codes of perfumery and breaks down the boundaries of roles and gender to explore new olfactory directions. From the encounter between the best raw materials and noble high-tech molecule melanges with a subversive touch are born. All right, so that's just a little bit from their site. If you want to know and learn more about them, you can just go to the New Notes site. So we're going to just get right into the fragrances, you guys. The first fragrance that I'm going to discuss is the Musk Complexity. Musk Complexity, the bottle is absolutely gorgeous. As you can see, it is so stunningly beautiful. I really like it. So this is Musk Complexity. And the fragrance notes in Musk Complexity are lemon, bergamot, spicy ginger, petitgrain, red fruits, rum accord. Middle notes are chocolate flower, jasmine, lavender, cardamom. The base notes are sugar, cinnamon peel, patchouli, gaiac wood, sandalwood, and musk. Now, as beautiful as this bottle is, I really would like this to be a love for me. But I have been playing around with these fragrances because I've had them for a while. And although I don't really like it on this paper, even when I applied it to skin because I wanted to like it so bad because of the bottle, which is weird, I'm just not vibing with it. I want to say that it's the labdaman in here that is in the petitgrain that is just kind of throwing me off. And a lot of times when you are sampling or testing out fragrances, I think a lot of times the season and the climate and even sometimes your mood have a lot to do with it. So right now it's just not a love for me. So again, this is Musk Complexity. The next fragrance is New Leather. New Leather has fragrance notes of bergamot, saffron, pink pepper, nutmeg, iris, lavender, cardamom, rosewood, suede accord, zest, cinnamon, and patchouli, as well as vetiver. Now, believe it or not, just from the name, this is something that I'm like, I don't know if I would like this. Maybe it's too male forwarding, but this is a nice fragrance, you guys. And I'm definitely going to say that it's the combination of the vetiver that rests at the bottom, as well as that saffron and that pink pepper that is just so good in this. I like this. I really like this one, but this is definitely something that I probably wouldn't purchase right now because this is, to me, a cool weather type of fragrance. It is very unisex, and the Musk Complexity was too, in my opinion. Very much of a unisex fragrance. But this is something that I would possibly consider, but I wouldn't say that it's, you know, a love. But I'm vibing with it. I am really vibing with this. So this, again, this is New Leather. All right, so the next fragrance is the Osmanto Shock. So this is the Osmanto Shock. Now, the Osmanto Shock has fragrance notes of bergamot, yellow mandarin, sweet orange, white peach, pink pepper, jasmine, osmanthus, white rose, cardamom, vanilla, tonka bean, patchouli, amaranth seeds, and oriental woods. This is pretty. This is pretty. You definitely pick up those florals in here. And I also can smell the white peach. And this is one that after wearing it on my skin, it went so well. To me, it is more female forwarding because the florals in here, they're just so soft, but it does have a musky, almost like woody undertone to it. And I think the patchouli is done just absolutely correct in here. And I like this. It's powdery. It has like this powdery effect to it, but not so powdery that it's like baby powder, but it's like that musky type of powder, you know, where you have a soft musky note, but it does come off as a little powdery. And the florals in here are absolutely beautiful. I think this fragrance is very well mixed. So again, this is the Osmanto Shock. Really enjoyed that. So this is one that I would definitely consider purchasing. All right, so the next one is called Talco. Talco. Now, this one right here is such a nostalgia. I want this fragrance. So, Talco has fragrance notes of bergamot, jasmine, damask rose, heart notes rose, um, ylang ylang, iris, rosewood, and the base notes are vanilla, tonka bean, amber, precious woods, and musk. This is such a nostalgic fragrance. Oh my God, this reminds me of my grandmother so much. And just for that reason alone, I want this fragrance. I definitely want to get this. And you have to have an acquired, in my opinion, like vibe or just liking for this type of fragrance. Because I'm going to tell you what it smells like. I remember when I was a little girl, my grandmother would have these powders in this little jar, and it had like a little, like a, you know, like a puff, you know, like a powder thing. I don't ever see those anymore. I haven't seen one. I don't even think I've seen one in my adult life, but this is what this smells like. So I think it gave it the right name. It does have some type of talco in it, like a talcum powder. And even with wearing this, you get that talcum powder fragrance through and through. This is such a vintage type of fragrance. Really, really enjoy this. This is the number one on my list, believe it or not. And they have two heavy hitters, two very popular ones in here. But I am really vibing with this Talco. So this is a love. Talco is a love. All right, so moving on to the next one. The next one is Queen of the Sea. Queen of the Sea have fragrance notes of sweet lemon, pink grapefruit, neroli. Heart notes Turkish rose, Morocco rose, magnolia, geranium. The base notes amber, patchouli, precious woods, and musk. So this is Queen of the Sea. Now, Queen of the Sea is pretty too. This is definitely a feminine fragrance. It's beautiful. You can pick up that rose, that Turkish rose, and that Morocco rose note in here. It's very pretty. However, this rose note with these mandarin notes at the top, the citrus notes at the top, but I'm going to be perfectly honest, the citrus notes that I'm smelling at the top, it is giving me another type of fruit vibe, but it doesn't list another type of fruit. It's almost giving me like like a subtle peachy vibe, or maybe like a nectarine or apricot, something along those lines. But it's pretty. It's a pretty fragrance. Queen of the Sea is definitely a pretty fragrance. It's not so good that it's something that I haven't smelled. This is something, you know, the fragrance notes and the vibe that I'm getting from this is something that is very familiar. Not to say that I have something like it or it's something, you know, that it's a copy of. I'm not at all saying that, but the DNA and the vibe that I get from it, it's familiar. It's very familiar. But this is a beautiful fragrance. This is something that I would consider. It's not just like a love or a hard no. It's in between. I would definitely consider. So again, this is Queen of the Sea. All right. The next one is Rosa Limone. Rosa Limone. Now, the fragrance notes in Rosa Limone are bergamot, sweet lemon, mandarin, pink grapefruit. The hard notes are Damascus rose, jasmine, geranium, iris, ylang ylang. The base notes are amber, amberette seed, patchouli, agar wood, and sandalwood. This is pretty. This is a citrus rose. It's a citrus rose. This is pretty. And this also reminds me of something. And when I say that, I'm not saying that it's dupe, because you know we are in the era of dupes. I am not at all saying that, you guys. I'm just saying that the combination of fragrance notes that are in here and the vibe that I get from this fragrance is something that's familiar to me. I just can't pinpoint what it is. But it's definitely a beautiful fragrance. But it's not something that, you know, I would even put on the right now. Now, you know, these are always, they could change over time. This is not one that I would consider even purchasing. But it's cute. It's pretty. All right, the next fragrance, and these are the last two, and these are the most popular fragrances in this line. These are the two that made me go ahead and purchase this discovery set because I've seen them all over social media. The first one is Caramelo Vanilla. Caramelo Vanilla has fragrance notes of vanilla flower, caramel, heart notes, white flower, frangipani, cotton candy, dulce de leche, base notes, vanilla berries, tonka bean, and musk. Now, you guys, this is for the gourmand lovers. It's absolutely beautiful. And like I said, it is something that it gives you a similar DNA of the Bianco Latte or the Gourmand Escapade. So this is a very familiar type of caramel note, but it's pretty, you guys. It is really nice. So I can see and understand what the hype and the excitement is around this fragrance because it is good. It is pretty and it wears well on the skin. This is also one of those fragrances that will be great for mixing. And this is one of those type of gourmands that I think could be, you know, throughout the entire year. Because some gourmands, I just only like them, you know, during the fall and winter months. But this is definitely one that I could see being worn throughout the year. So again, this is Caramelo Vanilla. And last but definitely not least is Latte Di Cherry. Now, the Latte Di Cherry has fragrance notes of cherry, red berry, sweet orange, almond, jasmine, Turkish rose, ylang ylang, hot spices. The base notes are vanilla, tonka bean, vetiver, sandalwood, amber, and musk. Yes, it is a cherry forward fragrance, and it is beautiful. And this is not one of those cherries that I haven't smelled. You know, it is a sour, smoky type of cherry. The same cherry vibe that you could get from Tom Ford's Cherry Smoke, as well as the Seven Virtues Cherry Ambition. That type of cherry. It's not, well, it kind of opens up a little bit like Lost Cherry, especially when I was testing it on my skin, but the dry down is nothing like the Lost Cherry, because, you know, I don't care for Lost Cherry because of the dry down, but it's a beautiful cherry note. It is. So I get the hype around this as well. But as for me, because I do have the seven virtues and I have experienced it. The Tom Ford Lost Cherry. I guess I would possibly purchase this because this is priced way lesser than the Tom Ford Cherry Smoke. But this is a beautiful fragrance. It is indeed a very beautiful fragrance. So out of the 8, like I said, the Talco is something that I do want to get. I have added this to my wish list. The new leather would be something else that I would consider getting, as well as the Latte Di Cherry. So out of the 8, there are 3 hard yes that I would definitely do. And out of the out of all of them, there's just one hard no. And like I said, that could possibly change, and that is the Musk therapy. And the ones that I would hold and consider and revisit would definitely be the Caramelo Vanilla, the Queen of the Sea, the Rosa Limone, and the Osmanto Shock. Now, I said all of that to say this. All of that could possibly change because that's just the way fragrances go. I do believe that your moment in your emotions, the climate that you're in, your level of peace, what you're going through in life, all of those things play a role in how you react, will play a role in how I react to fragrances. Let's just say that. So all of this can change. So anytime I'm honest with how I feel about them as far as how they smell, I'm honest. But your olfactory senses, they're just constantly changing. Like I told you, that wish list, it never ends and it never changes. The olfactory senses, my olfactory senses, it's the same. Things that I once loved so very much, I don't like so much. Things that I just couldn't get with, things do change. So just keep that in mind. But the number one that's at the top of my list out of all 8 is the Talco. It's the one that I have at the top of my wish list from this house. So again, this is from the house New Notes. And like I said, you can pick these up at Avant Garde, and always go over to AI the Great because you can look at her promotional code to save sometimes up to 40% off of select items. And I'll see you guys in the next video. If you have any thoughts about what I've shared here, if you've experienced any of these fragrances, let's talk about it in the comment section below. Do not forget, you are great. Bye-bye.